Drama has been the name of the game for TSM this offseason, and the story I want to talk about today actually combines a couple of different stories. It combines TSM, Reggie, DL drama, the story that just won't go away. It's just going to keep popping up. It combines the fact that TSM still hasn't announced a mid laner, still hasn't announced a roster. I know I keep talking about that, but it's really the biggest story in the League of Legends world right now. I'm really going to keep talking about it until we get that official roster announcement, which is, coming soon, TM, whatever. And it also combines the fact that Jensen, got kicked from Team Liquid, doesn't have a team still, that he was maybe rumored to TSM. At the very least, people were speculating like, oh, will he go to TSM? Would he want to go to TSM? Would TSM want him? All this stuff. So we can talk about all that put together in one story. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be interesting. We have a clip to go over that might give us a little bit more context surrounding all this. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. And subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. That is what I want most right now. We're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And right now we're on pace to do that. That doesn't mean it's time to slow down. That doesn't mean it's time to stop. Get your mom's iPad out, click the subscribe button, and help us get to 10K. But with that being said, let's get right into this. We have a clip from Jensen. This is like 3 weeks old. I don't know. This just came up on my YouTube recommended. I don't watch much Twitch. I watch a lot of YouTube. I see a lot of highlights. I see a lot of clips, all that stuff. So I know Jensen's been streaming a lot more. Obviously, he's not a pro player right now. It is like off season when you generally stream more anyway, but he's got a little bit more free time on his hands. I think he is a good streamer. I think he's entertaining. I think he's funny. I love how open and just kind of raw he is, like when he's talking. I think that's really, really cool. So you get a lot of cool clips from him. You get a lot of good sound bites. This guy is interesting when he has a camera on him, and him talking about the Doublelift and DL drama is definitely going to be spicy. But then again, it can also give us a little bit of insight onto where, what he thinks about TSM, because what he thinks about TSM not only affects whether he would want to come to TSM or TSM would want him, it also could give a little bit of an insight to what other players potentially think about TSM as well, because Jensen's just one guy, but, he's a guy who hasn't really been connected to TSM at all in any way. He's a guy who shouldn't have too much bias outside of, like being a competitor with TSM, being a rival to them, but it's not like TSM's ever done him dirty really in any way, personally. So he should kind of be like an outside, unbiased opinion on the whole situation. And again, he's just one person. It doesn't tell us everything, but it might tell us what some other potential free agents, some other players that are looking for teams think about TSM, think about joining TSM, think about the organization, the management, the staff, all that stuff. So let's see what Jensen has to say.
Yeah, Doublelift went off today. I mean, there's so much shit that goes on like behind the scenes that people don't really know about, and I don't know what really triggered him, but it was interesting for sure. He got triggered because he didn't get on a team. Is that really why? I don't think he cares that much.
So I think that's kind of interesting because this was definitely a point that a lot of people made, that Doublelift was just triggered, that TSM didn't want him back. I'm pretty sure Reggie even made this point himself, and I get it. I agree with Jensen that I don't think that's the main reason why Doublelift was angry at this specific time. I think it could have a lot more to do with just stuff kind of getting pent up and built up over time. I think it has a little bit to do, if not a lot of it, to do with what was going on between Lena and the organization at the time. Rumors that the relationship between Lena and TSM was not all that good. Rumors that she was already kind of halfway out the door. So he was starting to get to a point where he could be more comfortable and open speaking up about this. I do think that, TSM not choosing him for the 2022 team could have made him mad, and that could have been some of the reason why he spoke out, but it also could have been, oh, TSM doesn't want me, so now I can talk about them anyway because, maybe I wasn't saying this in hopes that they would still take me. So it's not like, oh, they made me mad, so I'm going to talk about it, but it's just, oh, they're not going to take me anyway, so I might as well talk about this now. And also, Bjergsen leaving TSM, I think, did have an impact of Doublelift choosing now to speak up about this stuff as well, because we know Doublelift really, really likes Bjergsen, really, really likes and respects him, and probably wouldn't want to, talk about TSM too poorly when he's on the team, when he's coaching the team, when he's like an owner of the team, especially. So I think there was a lot that went into Doublelift's decision. Could him not getting chosen for the 2022 roster played a part in that? Yes, but I don't think it was as big of a part as a lot of people are saying, and especially not as like Reggie is saying. And I think Jensen agrees with that because I think it's pretty reasonable take to get to that conclusion. But obviously we don't know for sure. So if you believe otherwise, that's totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, It does make sense that he's frustrated about everything that happened, because I do think a lot of maybe not a lot, but some of the management are a bit clueless or think they know more than they do. So there's probably just a lot of decisions he doesn't agree with, which makes sense.
So, obviously, kind of some spicy stuff. I don't think anyone's too surprised by a player saying this, that not all of TSM's management, but some of them might be a little clueless, that some of them might not have any idea what they're doing, and that Doublelift just probably, seeing a lot of decisions that went on, being around it, having to hear it all, he probably disagreed with a lot of the things that were being made. And again, as Jensen says, that's, reasonable. Rightfully so. Somebody sitting around watching all these decisions being made, they would have an issue with that. And as someone who's followed TSM very, very closely for a long time now, obviously, I don't get to see as much behind-the-scenes stuff as somebody like Jensen, DL, whatever. I don't get to see any behind-the-scenes stuff. But even from, in front of the scenes, I think it's pretty clear that a lot of people have come to the conclusions that TSM management makes a lot of weird decisions, makes a lot of decisions that people don't agree with, that a lot of TSM's success has maybe been in spite of some of the management, in spite of some of the leadership. And again, Jensen coming out and saying that, yeah, he thinks management is clueless. Now, the interesting spin on this whole thing is just like people are saying, is Doublelift hating on TSM right now and talking trash about them because they didn't pick him up? Is Jensen coming out and talking trash a little bit about TSM right now because TSM wasn't interested in Jensen for their, open mid lane position right now? Could that have a part of this? I don't know. I think it's a fair question to ask. Again, I don't think so. I'm sure a lot of the Jensen and TSM animosity has been built up over the years because, one, he's just a normal person and he can disagree with the things they're doing. I don't think that's that unreasonable. I think, myself and a lot of other people disagree with a lot of stuff that TSM has done. Also, they've been very, very bitter and fierce rivals for the past couple of years. Not only Jensen and Bjergsen, but Jensen and TSM, whether he's been on Cloud9, TL, whatever. So I think it's natural that some animosity and frustration and competitive just spirit, whatever, trash talking is going on there. I think that's very, very normal. But again, it also does give us that insight that potentially, Jensen, he's a player in the LCS. He's a guy who's been around for a while. He's a guy who's seen a lot of things. He's a guy who's seen different organizations, different management structures, different team leaders, different atmospheres, all this stuff. He's saying he believes some of the people at TSM are a little bit clueless. Now, did this make him not want to go to TSM? Was TSM not even ever an option for him? I don't know for sure. And who's he talking about? Is he talking about Reggie? Is he talking about Parth? Is he talking about a different guy behind the scenes? I'm not exactly sure, but I think you can kind of draw your own conclusions there, make some assumptions of your own. But I do think that is kind of interesting that, Jensen is coming out and saying that he thinks some of the TSM management might be a little bit clueless, and that is probably what Doublelift is thinking as well, and I definitely don't think they're the only two in that boat. And then from there, I really don't think it's too much of a stretch to say, if Jensen thinks this, if Doublelift thinks this, if some other players have come out and said this. Now, yes, some former TSM members have come out and spoke very, very highly of TSM, of Reggie, of all the guys. That's awesome. That's great. But, if you're a European player, if you're a Chinese player, if you're a Korean player, if you're maybe even another LCS player, could you see some of the stuff that's going on? Could you hear some of the stuff that's going on? Could you hear things that Doublelift, that Jensen, that any of these guys are saying? Could you see Bjergsen having ownership in the organization and still walking away from all that and think, hey, maybe there's something weird going on at TSM. Maybe TSM doesn't know exactly what they're doing. Maybe TSM isn't the team I want to trust with my career, with my future. Maybe it could be why TSM is in the position they are today, still without a roster on I'm recording this December 3rd, 2021. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about this whole situation? Do you think Jensen and DL are just salty? Do you think they're onto something? Do you think they're way off? I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, save today, and all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.